Remember the first time you fell in love? Your hands get sweaty, your stomach starts to turn with nervousness. Your heart starts to race faster and faster. All you want to do is spend time with this person. The relationship progresses, and you eventually want to make your public commitment of your love through marriage. Marriage is something that is offered to some Oregonians, but not for all Oregonians. In 2004, Oregon passed Measure 36, stating that marriage is defined between one man and one woman. Basic Rights Oregon and I, this past summer, for 3 months, went door to door, knocking on voter registered people, talking to them about their concerns with marriage equality in Oregon. What held them back? A lot of people said that they either didn't think about it, or it's always been this one thing, and it hasn't changed. Well, I'm going to tell you why Measure 36 should be overturned to allow committed gay and lesbian couples the right to marry. The idea that marriage has always stayed one thing is a myth. In the book, What Marriage is For, E.J. Graff states that marriage was actually considered a secular idea up until 1215, when the Catholic Church deemed it a sacrament. Meaning, the Catholic Church also further went on and said that consummation didn't make the marriage, but that the vows did. The words that people exchanged, the promise that two people shared. Luckily, time went on and things changed a little. In the documentary Tying the Knot, they talk about how marriage during the Middle Ages, it looked more like a business partnership. A farmer needed to find a farm wife in order to bring in the fields, otherwise they would starve. People did back then get married for love, but they had a saying for people that got married for love: you're going to have good nights but bad days. Meaning your hearts will be filled, but your stomachs will be empty. You will starve. Time went on, and jobs started changing. Skills for jobs started changing, and both men and women left the home to get jobs for income. This left room for love to come in, for people to mate. And marriage changed again. Instead of coming together for one skill set, you came together for love. And that's where we're at today. In an article at stateline.org, there are only 6 states within the United States that allow same-sex marriage: Massachusetts, Connecticut, Iowa, Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. These states view gay and lesbian couples to recognize their love. They recognize that their love is just as deep and just as strong as heterosexual couples. They recognize that gay and lesbian couples are a part of their community. So as you can see, marriage hasn't been defined as this one certain thing throughout time. It's been mirrored by the society of the time. In the census of 2008, it states that Oregon has 10,899 gay and lesbian couples as of 2005. That breaks down into 21,798 people being denied the right to marry based on their love. How to cure this problem in Oregon? According to freedomtomarry.org, they talk about starting the conversation, talking about your relationships, why you love, how you love. And this is also echoed in an interview with Aubrey Harrison that stated, people are twice as likely to vote for pro-gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered issues if they know somebody that's gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. This is why Basic Rights Oregon went to the streets and canvassed over the summer. LGBT people, along with straight allies, went knocking on doors, telling their stories, talking about their lives, how they love, why they love, and drawing the similarities between LGBT people being in love and heterosexual love. You might not be able to think of anybody in particular that would be affected by Measure 36. But 3 months ago, you met somebody, myself. I am a man that does date women. However, I'm a trans man, which means I was born in a female's body and transitioned into a man. So that means legally, my birth certificate still says that I'm female, and I am not allowed to marry women because of my birth certificate. Socially, any woman that I'm with, we are viewed as a typical heterosexual couple. Legally, we are not. I am able to change my birth certificate, but that doesn't change how deep I can love somebody. That's not going to change how I fall in love, who I fall in love with. That's only going to change a piece of paper. If I start picking up socks off the floor, that might change how much somebody loves me, because I respect it. But, so in order to change Measure 36 in the state of Oregon, everybody needs to talk about why marriage is important to them, why love is important to them. So as you can see, Measure 36 tried to define marriage, but throughout time it's changed. It went from a secular idea to a religious idea. It went from something to survive to love. And that's where we're at now. Marriage is for love. That's the ultimate reason why people marry. And if you're asked if marriage equality is important to you, think back to that first time that you fell in love. You worked up the courage to ask them to spend the rest of your life together. And they looked back at you and said, no, your love isn't good enough. That's what Oregon is doing by upholding Measure 36.